Raymond Louis Heenan was born on November 1, 1944 and died on September 17, 2017. He, better known as Bobby "The Brain" Heenan, was an American professional wrestling manager, wrestler, and color commentator, best known for his time with the American Wrestling Association (AWA), the World Wrestling Federation (WWF), and World Championship Wrestling (WCW). He was known for his skill in drawing heel heat for himself and his wrestlers, and for his on-screen repartee with Gorilla Monsoon as a color commentator. He was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2004 by Blackjack Lanza. Wrestling journalists Dave Meltzer and Wade Keller noted that Heenan is generally considered to be the greatest pro wrestling manager of all time. Heenan was born in Chicago on November 1, 1944. Always a fan of wrestling growing up in Chicago and Indianapolis, he started in the wrestling profession early on, carrying bags and jackets for the wrestlers, and selling refreshments at the events. Dropping out of school in the 8th grade to support his mother and grandmother. His first break in the wrestling business was as a heel manager and wrestler in 1965 when he was known as Pretty Boy Bobby Heenan. His gimmick over the years more or less remained the same. A tough-talking big mouth who cowered in fear when being physically confronted. At the time, heels were often given managers to speak for them in interviews, rile up the crowd during matches, and cheat on their behalf. He went on to manage some of the most successful wrestlers in the world, creating the Heenan family, a stable that existed in several different incarnations and wrestling promotions for over 20 years. Heenan was married to the former Cynthia Jean Parrott, known as Cindy, from June 21, 1978 until his death. Together they had a daughter, Jessica Ida Heenan, married name Solt, born 1978. He also had 2 grandchildren. Although on screen they were often at odds, Heenan was actually very close with his WWF broadcast partner Gorilla Monsoon. He was also close friends with Gene Okerlund, various other people involved with the wrestling business, including Jim Ross. On-screen adversary Hulk Hogan and Ted DiBiase noted their close friendships with Heenan on their Twitter accounts after he died in January 2002. Heenan announced that he had throat cancer. Heenan later recovered from throat cancer, but lost a great deal of weight, dramatically changing his appearance and voice following early treatments. He spoke in a soft, high-pitched tone which contrasts noticeably with the tone fans were accustomed to hearing him use as a color commentator. He went from 231 pounds (105 kilograms) to 190 pounds (86 kilograms) or even less. In December 2007, Heenan had reconstructive surgery on his jaw. After the first surgery was unsuccessful, he was placed in a medically induced coma and was slowly brought out. In the second half of January 2008, he had come out of his medically induced coma. Though not yet able to speak, he was communicating with his eyes. He had several more surgeries to reconstruct facial features. In October 2008, it was reported that he was able to speak a few sentences before getting tired. In February 2009, it was reported that he was still relearning how to speak clearly and out of the hospital. On December 11, 2009, Heenan was hospitalized at the H. Lee Moffitt Cancer Center in Tampa, Florida after an examination of his rebuilt jaw found an infection that needed to be treated. By 2010, his jaw infection was completely eradicated. In 2010, he broke a hip and his shoulder in a fall and recovered within a few months, according to an interview given by Jim Ross in October 2013. Heenan was hanging in there and continuing to have trouble speaking as a result of tongue cancer treatments. In April 2014, while in Las Vegas to attend a wedding, he fell out of bed and broke a shoulder. In May 2016, he fell again and broke a hip. On September 17, 2017, Heenan died at the age of 72 while surrounded by family at his home in Largo, Florida.